Familiar faces. See, Levine? Awesome. So we have 1 hour, right? So I don't want to talk too much about me. What I'll do is I'll give you a quick background about why I'm helping coaches and how this journey started for me. I don't want to give you a 30-minute life history about me. That's not the point. And then we'll get into the main topics for today. Okay. So I'll share my screen. I have a few slides, not a lot. I have a few slides. So if you can see my slide, give me a thumbs up, please. Okay, all right. So the topic of today's session is 3 proven strategies to price your coaching services. And this is based on my last 7+ years of experience, practical experience in the industry. So quick background. So when I started my coaching journey back in 2017, I used to live in Bangkok, and just like most coaches, I struggled when it came to, pricing and getting clients and setting up the business, etc. So after struggling for a few weeks, what I decided to do was to find a job with a coaching and training company based in Bangkok. And within a few weeks of joining the company, because I had access to behind the scenes of what happens in this business, I was able to get my first few coaching clients. And almost a year passed, and I noticed that other coaches in my network at the time also needed help. And I just started to help them. And then slowly, out of just my curiosity, this kind of started to grow organically, and I started doing trainings. And then since COVID and after since then, I've done numerous amount of master classes and cohorts and one-on-one sessions with a lot of coaches from 23 plus countries. And all of this is basically about one main thing. That is, how do you go from a trained certified coach to becoming a coach who has a consistent flow of paying clients coming in? That is the focus. Okay. So here are the takeaways that you will have by the end of today's session. So I've planned it in a way that I'll try to conclude the content within 40 to 45 minutes. We will have a lot of interaction as well. And then the last 15 minutes we'll use for Q&A. Yeah, sound good? All right. So the first takeaway, I'll go deeper into the topic, by the way. The number one money mindset all coaches have in common that helps them to get paid well. We'll explore this first. Number two, the elastic band method of deciding the pricing for your coaching services. Number three, how to increase your fee and target clients with higher paying potential. And lastly, how to handle negotiations and people asking for discounts. Okay, so let's start with the first one. So the number one money mindset all successful coaches have in common. So here's what I'm going to do. I'll introduce the topic and then stop screen share and then look at all of you and speak to the camera. Okay, then that way we have an interaction. Otherwise, I'll sound like a boring professor. All right, so when you speak about money, let's start with a small exercise. I want you to be, completely, this is a safe space, obviously. So be completely free and honest with yourself and with me. When you hear the word money, what is the first thing that comes into your mind? You can share it in the chat. I'll ask again. When you hear the word money, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Freedom. Wow, I love that. Okay, what else? A quick clue could be, okay, Romana says difficult to get. So try to sense what you're feeling in your body, right? Giving back, says Shabin, opportunity, power to buy what you want. Okay, let's wait for two more. Pink Floyd. Nice one. Okay. What else? Abundance. Wow. Love that. Freedom and comfort. Okay. So, what I'm trying to demonstrate here is that we all have different feelings associated with money, right? And I'm sure everybody knows the importance of having an abundance mindset. I'm not going to talk about all that, but everybody knows because we are all in this industry. And if you look at Umar's background, it says abundance. I love the name, by the way. So my point is that before we know how much we're going to price, the number, whether that is in rupees or dollar, whatever currency, the first thing is to have a really strong conviction, a strong energy about how much you deserve to get paid, right? And this is one thing that I've seen in so many successful coaches, not just ICF coaches, but other areas as well, right? So they all have this, it's almost like a second nature for them. They have this belief that I'm providing something of value, so I deserve to get paid really well. So this is the foundation that everybody needs to start from. And that feeling that we have associated with money, it's different for different people. So we don't have enough time to go into all the details about all this, how to have the belief, etc. But I want to highlight this one major thing. You need to have at least one strong positive feeling related to money, right? So someone said abundance, somebody else said freedom. So for me, as a coach, when I think about money, the first thing that comes to my mind is contribution. Because for me, that is so important. I'm sure it's important for everybody. So that word is different for different people, right? So this is the thing. It's like, something in the back of your mind. These are things that help you keep going when the going gets tough. And we all know this journey of building a coaching business is not easy, right? So this is the first thing. You have to really have that conviction that what you're providing is of value. And as long as you believe that, you deserve to get paid well. This has nothing to do with how much your prospective clients can afford or not. This is just about your feeling, okay? And this is all I have to say for this topic, and I will end with one major takeaway, and we'll explore the other topics in much larger detail. So the takeaway is your coaching fee equals your money frequency, right? So everything in life that we have is a direct relation of what is the frequency that we're giving out. Not just about money, with everything else. So your coaching fee is exactly the same thing. So whatever your money frequency is at this point in time, you will only attract those people within that frequency, and you will only allow into your life whatever that particular frequency allows. Okay. So there are a few ways to make sure that you increase your frequency. I mean, you can obviously coach yourself, practice gratitude, things like that, or maybe hire a coach for yourself or get a mentor. So I leave it to you to figure out what that is. But it at this moment in time, if you are sure that your money frequency is not very positive, not very high, I highly recommend that you start working on that, because that is the first thing. It's an inner work to address before you decide your fee and all that. Yeah. Okay. Any questions on this? We'll explore the other topics in much more detail. Yes, Umar?
Yeah. What do you exactly mean by money frequency? How would you kind of define that?
Okay, great question. To be honest, I don't know how to define it, okay, because I think that this is something that we have to feel. It's just like, so it's like this, right? So there's this famous quote that says that you are the average of the five people around you, that you spend the most time with. So the people that we associate with, the people that we relate with, the opportunities that comes to us, the amount of money that we make, etc., is all in direct proportion to the energy that we're giving out. And what I mean by energy is whatever you're focusing on consistently. If you focus on positive things, possibilities, that's what you will see. So we have this thing called the reticular activating system, RAS, in the brain, right? Which is basically whatever you're focusing on consistently, the brain will choose to help you see more of that. So if you are feeling and believing that people don't want to pay for coaching, nobody values coaching, that is what you will see, because the brain is like it has a lot of potential, but you can't focus on so many things at the same time. I think in NLP there is this. I think they have a statistics for that. I can't remember exactly, but they were talking about how many things you can focus on at any given point in time.
This
So that is what my point is.
kind of law of attraction also.
I mean, all of this is connected basically, right? So I don't know how to define it exactly, because I don't think this is a fixed thing. This is different for different people. But I'm seeing a lot of heads nodding. So that I take it as a sign that people are able to understand what I'm talking about, right? So that is the first thing, your money frequency. A coaching fee equals your money frequency. Okay. All right. Next thing, the elastic band method of deciding the pricing for your coaching services. So I'll demonstrate this, and I'd like to have a volunteer from our group today. And the kind of person I'm looking for is someone who is very serious about making coaching his or her full-time profession, and really believes that what you're offering is of value, but you're not really sure how much to price. Anyone like that here? I'll demonstrate this using an activity and then we'll come back to the theory part. Anyone like that?
Everyone is like that, but
Yes. Okay. Nair has put his hand up. So let's have this conversation. Thank you for coming forward, Nair. Everybody give him a hand, please, because this is not easy to come forward. Yeah. So tell us a little bit more. What do you have in mind in terms of pricing? First, let's start with this. What kind of coaching do you do, or do you?
All right. Well, I currently work as a leadership coach,
Yeah.
and I would like to elevate myself for towards the C level executive
Okay.
coaching. So this is what I aspire to do.
Okay. All right. And have you already worked with a few paying clients or not yet?
Yeah, yes, yes, yes. I've been working as a coach for the last 10 years, and I have
Oh,
a
wow.
number of paid. I have many paid clients, and some of them are well paying as well.
I see. In
Yeah.
that
So probably
case,
I may not be the right candidate for you, but I just
yeah.
raised my hand because I wanted to be the volunteer.
Okay. I'll give you an opportunity. We have other topics for this. So
Sure,
let's
sure.
find somebody else. Yeah. But still, thank you
All
so
right,
much
sure,
for coming
sure,
forward.
sure.
So thank you. Anybody else in the audience who is fairly new? Perhaps you've got maybe a couple of clients, but you're not full-time yet. And you really aspire to make coaching a full-time profession and you want to know how much you can charge. Anyone like that?
I can jump in over here. I've
Hi,
been in the
Romana. Yeah.
profession of HR for quite a few years now, but I want to conduct coaching full time at this point.
Okay. All right. So you've been in HR and you want to come into coaching. So do you have any particular niche in mind about coaching?
Yes, I do. I was thinking towards women as a niche, aspiring women, because I feel that this is a segment that requires a lot of motivation and
Yeah.
confidence and removal of self-doubt, etc., as well as career management.
Okay, great. So it's your target market is women in that case. Okay, great. I think this is a good example. So have you already worked with a few paying clients already, Romana?
Yes, I have. I've worked with a few paid clients, but very few, not enough to make a
Okay.
substantial living. I mean, this is a safe space, so I can say that all my
Absolutely.
other endeavors have resulted in my sustenance. But if I want to make this full time, then I will need to really up that clientele base.
Yeah, correct. So thank you for coming forward. So let's do this exercise, right?
Yeah.
Um, if you don't mind sharing, and this is completely up to you, what is it
hmm
that you're charging right now? Let's at least give us a ballpark figure. Per session, how much are you charging?
Well, I'll tell you very honestly that I feel that I add a lot of value, like you said earlier. So that really resonated with me. So looked at what other coaches were making on the international perspective, and the starting and the finishing amount. So I started off with the $200 per session, and one session would last for about 45 to 50 minutes.
Okay, all right. And how do you feel about getting paid $200 a session?
I think it sucks. People, uh, potential clients have actually come back and said, it's a little too high for them. Can I give them a discount? Another example, I've known you forever. Why would you charge me such a large amount? Et cetera, things of that sort. So
Okay.
I feel fine because I feel my competency, my capability should be attributed to that amount. But I'm afraid people, especially because it's a new field for a lot of people, it doesn't resonate well with them.
Hmm. Okay. So I want to do one thing.
hmm
For this moment, let's separate what people are perceiving
Yeah.
from you deciding a coaching fee. Okay.
Okay.
Because that is one topic I'll talk about in the upcoming topics. I'm not very sure if Ramana, this is the right exercise for you. In fact, I'll come back to you a bit later. Yeah. So
Okay.
okay. So thank you, Ramana. So
Okay.
let's do this, everybody, because we have limited time. I don't think I can ask for a different volunteer. So I'll explain how this concept works, right? So this particular thing about the elastic band method, meaning it's about identifying a range. It's like an elastic band. Okay, if you pull it, there's a lower limit and there's an upper one, right? So this particular topic is valid, especially for those of you who are not sure how much to charge. If you're already charging, this may not be very valuable, but you can still listen to it. If you're not sure how much to charge, this is how it works. Okay. So first of all, you have to start. There is no number that is too high or low. There are coaches who are charging like over $1,000 or maybe $3,000 also per session. And I know also coaches who are charging like $10 and stuff, right? So there's nothing called expensive or cheap. It's always a comparison. So the first thing to do is to decide a number that you feel you're worth, whatever that number is, $100 an hour or 50 or 200 or whatever. And really, really ask yourself, how would I feel if I'm getting paid this? Right? Forget about what people are saying, what people will say. We will address that shortly. But you have to start with a number where you feel you are being rewarded for the value that you're providing. And this is different for different people. Okay. So now what you do is, how do you know if it is a good one to start with? Okay. So here's what you do. Let's say, for example, the number that you've chosen is $100 for a session. Okay. So now what you do is you increase it. You ask yourself, what if I increase it to 120? How would I feel? Right? And then you would say, okay, I feel good. And then you increase it again, make it 150, 160, 170, 180. And I promise you, there will be a limit, and this is different for different people. There will be a limit where your body kind of will show some signs that you're uncomfortable. Only you can feel it. Okay. So this is again, coming back to the previous point, we all have an energy field around us, right? And we all have a frequency range regarding money and everything else in life. So there will reach an upper limit where you start to feel like, I don't know if I'm ready for that, or I don't think I can charge that, right? So if you reach that point, that is your upper limit at the moment. Perhaps it is, let's say, $180. That is your upper limit. So you do the same thing in the reverse as well. Instead of $100, what if people pay me 80? Will you feel good? Not that good, but maybe I can accept it for 1 or 2 sessions. And then you try to lower it, and they will reach a point where you're like, no, like if this is what I'm getting paid, I don't think I'm being rewarded. And how many of you would agree with me if I say that when your client is paying you very less and you know that you're not getting rewarded, your level of motivation actually drops. If you agree with me, put yes in the chat. Yeah, I think all of us agree, right? So we need to find that range, right? Whatever that range is for us. How to charge it, how to convince people, all that is a different topic. We'll come to that. But this is for those of you who are not sure where to begin. Okay. So this is a technique that will help you understand the range, because sometimes you might come across people who may not be genuinely able to afford what you want to charge. So if it's a little bit reducing for 1 or 2 sessions, if you're okay, you can still go forward. Okay. That's my point. So the takeaway from this particular topic is to know your range, charge within that range first, and keeping in mind the objective of increasing your range. Just because you're within a range right now, it doesn't mean you should stay there. So slowly start increasing it. And this has to do with your relationship with money. This is another point. The pricing that we charge always has two different sides. Let me explain this and stop screen share and explain. The pricing that we charge always has two different sides. Okay. One is the actual fee. Yeah. And the other one is your relationship with money. So the first part is about the numbers, right? How much you're charging, X dollars, Y dollars. And the second thing is a relationship with money. So these two things has to go hand in hand. If you do not have a good relationship with money, your energy will not allow higher amounts to come in. So do the inner work required so that you know your range, current one, you charge within the range, and you're able to increase it slowly as well. Yeah. Faiza, yes, you have a question?
Yes, I have a question actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
So can I ask here or should I park
Yeah,
my
please
question
go
for the
ahead.
later?
No,
Okay,
go
okay.
ahead.
So my question is this, that if one is getting money
Yeah.
from other sources
Yeah.
other than coaching, and one feels that I am already getting a lot of money, I have abundance of money, what happens then? The relationship with money is there because money is coming, money is flowing in,
Great.
right?
Great.
But it is not coming through coaching, it is coming through any other way, through business or rental income or passive income or whatever
Yeah.
you are doing.
Yeah.
So what happens at that time, but you're not getting coaching client, but when you want to have a paid coaching client and high paid coaching client, so what happens in that way? Okay.
Great question, and thank you for asking this. So this is a classic example of a coach who may not be struggling to get paid necessarily because of the relationship with money, but because of the other things. So in this case, I mean, we need to explore this a little further, but based on my understanding, I'll say something to Feza. In this case, what needs to happen is that your coaching offer for your audience needs to be clearer. Your strategies to generate leads needs to be stronger. And in case you have challenges in conversion, you need to increase your ability to convert more clients from a prospective client into a paid coaching client. So your challenge is purely with the strategy part. It has nothing to do with the energy part, right? Um, Today, unfortunately, I can't go deeper, but I can promise you, if you really look into it, really look into these three parts, right? So the major three parts in the strategy side, you offer. Offer meaning what is it that your clients are perceiving? People don't pay for ACC or PCC or any other certification, right? They pay for what is it that you can give me? What is it that you can help me with? That's the offer, what people perceive about your coaching. Second is the lead generation, which is finding the people who might be a good fit for your offer. And this can be either online strategies or even in person, like going to a seminar, networking event, etc. Many coaches I know, they have a decent offer, but they're not doing enough to generate leads. They're not showing up enough. They're not promoting themselves enough, not creating enough content, etc. And there are coaches who are getting enough leads, decent leads, but not able to convert. So one of the common mistakes, this is not part of today's topic, but I think it's valid that we talk about this. In case you are a coach who is having decent number of discovery calls with prospective clients and you're not able to convert, it could be because you're trying to solve the client's problem in the discovery call. And I remember when I started back in 2017, one of my mentors told me that, Aki, don't try to solve the client's problem in the discovery call. I think all of us do this mistake. I made this as well several times, but I was blessed to have a mentor told me early on. So what he told me, I still remember. So he said that the purpose of the discovery call is not to solve the client's problem. It is to obviously build trust, build rapport, identify what's going on, explore what's going on with the client's life, and help them understand what is the root cause of their problem. So, I mean, all of you agree, right? When clients come with us with a problem, that's not really the real problem. Yeah, something else is going on. I'm sure everybody knows this. So our job in the discovery call, as using our coaching ability, we have to help them understand what is the root cause of the problem. And if they want to overcome that, they have to sign up with you. Plain and simple, right? Like what happens is if you try to solve their problem, they have no reason to hire you. So that this could be, I mean, I don't know in your case what it is, Faiza, but this is a common mistake that a lot of coaches make, right? So it's either the offer or the lead generation or the conversion. Okay. Can I go to the next topic? Okay. All right. And did I answer your question?
Yes,
Okay.
I got the
All
answer.
right.
Thank
Good.
you so much.
Okay. You're welcome. Great. So let's talk about the third topic, how to increase your fee and target clients with higher paying potential. So this is one of my favorite topics. Okay, let me ask you a question. How many of you would like to increase your coaching fee? If you'd like to increase your coaching fee, put a big yes in the chat. Yay, good. So if you say yes, like I'll give you a high five, a virtual high five. Okay, so let's talk about this. I have a strong belief that coaches need to be paid really well. Okay. And the reason I believe this so strongly is because what we're doing is not just coaching. We're actually transforming a person's life in different areas. Sometimes it could be their career or business. Sometimes it could be the relationship or health or whatever, right? So the key to understand here to increase your fee is that if you continue to charge per session or per hour, you are what is in marketing terms a commodity pricing. So commodity pricing means people are looking at the product and like for example, let's just say this is a phone, right? So assume this is another phone. It's an AC remote, but just assume it's another phone. Okay. So if these two were the same models, right? And with the exact same features, with the exact same offering, and if this one is slightly less priced, everything is the same, no difference in quality, everything is the same. How many of you would go for this? Put your hand up. Yeah. It's just basic human psychology. Right? So this is a big challenge for coaches because if you're, let's say, a leadership coach, executive coach, business coach, whatever type of coach you are, if there is no differentiation for what you offer compared to the other coaches who are offering similar things, you will be coming under the commodity pricing bracket. So when you're a commodity, it means you're charging per hour or per session. And in order to increase your pricing, the only way you have is to do more sessions. And like you only have so much time. It's not practical and it'll lead to burnout, right? So what you do is you create something called a compelling offer. So instead of selling coaching by hour or by session, you create an offer around your coaching. Offer or package. These two are the same things. I'm sure many of you have heard about the thing called coaching package, right? So, I mean, that by itself can be another webinar, Umar, maybe at a later point, but I'll talk about the main ingredients of the offer, okay? So the difference between selling coaching by hour or session and offer is that in the package or the offer, in addition to your coaching, you also have some things that enhances the total value of what you are offering. So I'll give an example of what I mean by that. I worked with a client recently. She's a career coach, right? 22 years old, like fairly new out of university, and she's offering career coaching. What was that? Umar, can you make sure that everybody is muted? Just to be sure. Yeah. So this coach, she's offering career coaching for young people fresh out of college to find a job. Yeah. So when she first came to me, she said that, Aki, I'm charging X amount of rupees for 4 sessions. I feel it's pretty low. What should I do? So I told her and I asked her a question that in addition to your actual coaching, what else do your clients need help with? And then she thought for a while. Then she said, yeah, you know what? Many of them don't know how to make a resume. I asked, okay, what else? They don't know how to make an optimized LinkedIn profile. They don't know how to perform in the interview. And the list went on and on and on and on, right? So what we did was, because she is an expert on LinkedIn as well for finding jobs, etc., she added a few other benefits of working with her in addition to the actual coaching. So she made it into a package. And when she was doing the discovery call, she didn't say, I'm going to give you 3 sessions or 4 sessions. She said, we will have 4 sessions where we'll work on this, this, and this, and whatever else that comes up. In addition to that, I'll guide you on how to create an optimized LinkedIn profile. By the way, this doesn't have to be an additional session. You can have like a document one time you do it, and that is it, that the system does the work for you. You don't have to physically be in the session. Now, another thing is that she created some tips on how to create a resume. So the point is the overall value of her package increased. And she was able to go from charging 10,000 to 35,000 for the same thing. But the perceived value is dramatically higher. Do you see my point? So let me give you another example, right? We talked about the phone. So let's just say this is a used phone, by the way. When I bought it, I think I paid what? How much did I pay? Maybe three. I think $200, $250 maybe. That's what I paid for this phone last year, I think. So let me make an offer, right? So how many of you would buy this phone if I'm gonna ask for $200? Any buyers? Nobody wants to buy. So let me ask you this, yeah? I'm going to sell you this phone, but in addition to the phone, what if I tell you I have the contacts of 50 influential leaders of Fortune 500 companies who you can reach directly, and at least half of them will give you a coaching contract, guaranteed, because they are my connections, and I'm going to sell that to you. Now, how many of you are going to pay $500 for this? Yeah, I think a few hands. How many of you will pay 1,000? Yeah, there are a few hands. So this depends. So my point is, it's not the phone I'm selling, it's the package. Yeah. So a coaching business is no different. Make no mistake. Coaching business operates just like any other business, just the business part. What you're doing is still coaching. But when we sell what we do, we can't talk about coaching competencies and awareness and things like that because that's not what people want. They want a certain result or a solution, and coaching is a process to help them get there, right? So this is a mistake that a lot of coaches make, and I made this as well. When we try to sell our coaching, like it's it's like we try to talk about the benefits of coaching and why they need coaching. But that's not how business works, right? You have to focus on the benefits of it. And if you want to increase your pricing, you have to move away from selling coaching per session or per hour to creating a package. Yeah. By the way, sometime last year, I had done a session, a webinar on how to create an attractive coaching package. I have the recording of that. So if any of you wants it, please send me a message on LinkedIn. Omar, if possible, if you could drop the link of my LinkedIn profile in the chat. I think a lot of people here are connected with me. In case you're interested in what I just talked about, just send me a message and I'll send you the link of that masterclass. Okay. So it's very important that you have an attractive coaching package. All right, good. So the key takeaway here is that don't sell coaching, sell your offer. Okay, because when you sell your offer, what happens is you're painting the picture of the transformation the client can get when they work with you. Yeah. And people buy solutions, not a process. Coaching is a process to get to a certain result, right? So it's like this, for example, any tennis fans here? Anybody likes tennis? Okay, some people. Great. So I was a huge fan of Nadal, but he retired recently. So now Alcaraz is the hero, I guess. So anyway, so if you're a tennis player and if you have an injury to your knee, you don't go to the doctor and say, I want a surgery, right? You will say that, hey, I have a match coming up, a tournament coming up. Help me fix this knee. And the doctor will decide whether a surgery is needed or what is the process to get there. So coaching is a process that you're using to help your clients to go from A to B. Nobody pays for a process. They pay for a solution, a result, an outcome, right? So don't focus on selling the coaching, sell your offer because people buy solutions, not a process. Okay. All right. The last point, and then we can go to Q&A, how to handle negotiations and people asking for discounts. Okay. So let's explore this in a little bit of a detail. I think Romana, are you still there? Okay, I don't know if she's still here. So she mentioned something like, I charge $200, but some people are asking why you're charging me this much, etc., right? So first of all, when people give you objections to the pricing, we need to understand that an objection is an invitation to explore further. Just like what we do in coaching, if people give an objection, the price is too high, or why you're charging me this much, or I don't know if this will work for me, the first thing you do is, I hear you, right? Acknowledge that first instead of trying to kind of push back on it or try to convince them about why they need coaching. What you do is, I hear what you're saying. I'm curious to know more. So what do you really mean by that? If somebody says it's too expensive, one of the things I learned many years ago is expensive compared to what? Because expensive or cheap is always a comparison, isn't it? So the thing is, if they're saying $200 is expensive, they might be paying $500 for a handbag or for a pen or whatever. So it is always about what they equate value with. So you want to know what is it that they really have in their mind. So an objection is an invitation to explore further. Okay, so explore that. And what you'll realize is that sometimes, like especially if you have a higher fees, most likely them working with you will be in the top 5 or the top 10 purchases of their entire life. If you have a higher fee, especially, right? So anytime somebody is making a big purchase, many times they're not the only person involved in it. So you want to explore that further. So one of the things you could ask could be, okay, is there somebody else involved in the decision making, or is it only you? I think someone here said your target market is women, right? So I've found this, especially in my business as well. A lot of my clients are women, and many of them have told me that I can't tell you the decision right now. Okay, I have to speak to my husband. And the same is true vice versa as well. Many men want to discuss with their wife before they sign up for coaching. So what you want to do is you want to make sure how they're feeling about that, because sometimes it's possible that they want to go ahead with your program, but they don't know how to convince their partner, or they don't know what to say to their partner, right? So when you explore, that's when you understand. They may not tell you that. So you have to explore that. This is one situation. Okay. So in that case, what you can do is, okay, so, is what challenge do you have in terms of explaining this to your partner or your spouse? And then you want to dig deeper there. I'm not saying tell them what to do. I'm saying explore what is the real challenge beneath the iceberg. And you can help them to come to that decision or create that mindset of talking to their partner. So what is it that you will need to speak to the partner about? What is it that your husband needs to hear from you to say yes? These kind of things. Yeah. Sometimes it's possible that they really want it, but they don't want it now. And this is a situation that happens with a lot of us where the client says, I'll get back to you, and they never get back. Right? Anyone face a situation here like that? Yeah. So what you want to do is when the client says, I'll get back to you, before they leave the call, you always want to ask this simple question. Write this down. Okay. You say, absolutely, no problem. By when can I expect to hear from you? By when can I expect to hear from you? Simple question, very powerful. And this works with most people because when they give a timeline, when they give a commitment, their chances of following through is very high. Some people say, give me a day. Some people say, give me a week. So what you do is you set a reminder and you wait for the answer from them. If they don't get back within that time period, wait for another day or two and then send them a follow-up. Okay. So I'm speaking about all of these things because all of this is connected to your pricing. Okay. So yeah, these are a few things to understand about objection handling and stuff. So there's one more thing about discounts, right? Some people ask for discounts. And there are cases where, so there are two scenarios that I've come across. One thing, the client is really interested and they can afford as well, but they still ask for a discount. So here's what you can do in that case. So if what you want to really get paid, let's say is $200, you start by pitching for 250 or 230. If you get more, it's still good, isn't it? So you start with 250. And if they ask for a discount, provided you're creating a package and selling the package, let's say the entire package is $2,000, right? So what you do is, yes, absolutely, I can give you a discount. When you pay for the package in full, I can give you a 5% or 10% discount. That way it's a win-win. Okay. So this is for a client who is able to afford what you have to sell. Okay. Now, the other part, there are some people, how many of you have ever come across some clients who really want to, do the coaching with you, but they really can't afford it. Anyone like that? Put one in the chat. I have been in situations like that. Okay, I think many hands are going up. So yeah, I think a lot of us, right? So here's what you want to do, right? If you give a discount to your main offer, you're actually diluting the value that you're creating. So here's what you can do. Positioning is important. How you position your discount is very important. So instead of saying, okay, I will discount it from $200 to $100, what you do is, I learned this from one of my mentors again a few years ago. So you position it as a scholarship fee. Instead of a discount, you say you position it as a scholarship fee. So what you can say to the client is, usually this is my fee, but in a month for 1 or 2 clients, I give a scholarship fee. And I'm happy to do maybe 3 sessions with you for X amount of dollars. Okay, so this way you're not giving, yes, it is a discount technically, but the way it is perceived is very different. So understand this thing, right? How people perceive your pricing, perceive your value, perceive your packaging is so important, because the perceived value is what brings the clients in. Okay, it's very important. Another thing you could do here is, I think most of us are in touch with our clients even after the coaching sessions, right? Via WhatsApp or any other medium. So one thing you could do is, if the client really wants to go forward but can't afford it, you can give a small discount and say it's a scholarship fee. And you can say that because I'm giving you a scholarship fee, I won't be able to offer you any support via WhatsApp. Because if I do that, it would be unfair for my other clients, which is legitimate. So in that case, what you're doing is you're still coaching them, but you're saving a lot of your time, like chatting back and forth. Yeah. And this is important. This actually really works, because in that case, you're only obligated to spend like 1 or 2 hours or however long their engagement is. And you can focus the rest of your time on your real clients, the ideal clients. Okay. So yeah, this is what I wanted to share. So the main takeaway here is, objection is an invitation to explore. Position your discounts as scholarship fees. Okay. All right. We have exactly 15 minutes left. Wow, great. So here's what we talked about today. Okay. The number one money mindset all successful coaches have in common that helps them to get paid well, which is your money frequency, right? Your coaching fee equals your money frequency. The elastic band method of deciding the pricing for coaching services. So there is no fee that is too high or too low. Understand what is that range for you, and decide a fee, especially when you're starting out, within that range. So a good practice would be, once you're able to sign 3 clients, so whatever fee that you're fixing, from the next client, increase your fee by 25%. There is no timeline. There is no fixed time when you can increase your fee. It's completely up to you and your confidence. Okay. And just because you have added another certification, that doesn't automatically give you the right to increase the price as well, because the market doesn't treat it any different. So first 3 clients, increase the price of 25, and then do the same thing every 3 clients. Okay. Third one, how to increase your fee and target clients with higher paying potential. Okay, so I missed out on speaking about the clients with higher paying potential. Let me talk about that briefly. So what you want to do is, I highly recommend all of you to target people above the age of 35. And the reason is simple. Most of them are fairly settled in their life, and they usually have the capacity to pay. Yeah. So many times what happens is, the client that you're targeting loves your offer, wants to work with you, but they really don't have the money because they don't have a job, they're a university student, whatever. So if you target people above the age of 35, you increase your chances of people who have higher paying potential. And if any of you have access to people who are entrepreneurs, business people, CXO, CEO, president, I recommend that leverage that. Because even though you call it life coaching or executive coaching or business coaching, I'm sure, Nair, maybe you agree with me. All coaching comes down to life coaching after a few sessions. correct? You can call it business coaching, executive coaching, whatever coaching, but after a few sessions, you start to realize the client starts to realize it's about them, not about the people or the business. I mean, that's important, but it has to start with them. But you can't tell that to them directly in the first session. So if you have access to people who are at that level, I would say utilize that because they have the higher paying potential. Yeah. I mean, this is up to you, but if you have access, I would say utilize it. Number four, how to handle negotiations and people asking for discounts. So just remember that in all the objections are invitations to explore further. Really use your coaching skills to understand what's really going on. Don't try to convince them about the pricing. Don't try to convince them why they need coaching. Really understand what is the real objection. Yeah. Sometimes it's possible that they don't believe in themselves. Sometimes it's not about you. Sometimes they believe it won't work for them. So in that case, you want to explore what is causing that belief and maybe tell a few stories of your previous clients without taking names, obviously, on how they got results by working with you, right? And position discounts as a scholarship fee. Okay. All right, Umar, I am done with the content. Let's do some Q&A. And can we take a picture, by the way? Let's take a group picture.
Yeah.
Yes, I was about to say that before everyone leaves. So let's take a picture, okay?
Yeah.
If you can keep open your camera, that would be great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
There are a few who are.
Shabin, are you taking it?
Yeah, I'm taking it. Yeah.
Shabin is taking
So we can do this like
Okay, all right.
one more.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks, everybody. So we
Thank
still
you.
have time.
Thank you, Akilesh.
Let's.
If anyone has any questions, before anyone else put up any question, I have one.
Yeah.
And by the way, thank you very much for your session. The two very good takeaways that I have is one was the earlier part, which you were talking about the frequency of money, which can be translated into the attraction, the law of attraction also, and also about the selling a package, not only one coaching session, but selling a package. My question is about you have spoken about one-to-one clients,
Yeah.
individual clients, but then there are corporate clients also who are sponsored clients. So
Yeah.
the same techniques will be good for them also, and how would you
Yeah.
handle
Great question. Great question. So the thing about corporate, right? Most of the time, obviously the decision maker is not the person coming to the coaching with you. It is the HR or the CEO or the director. Yeah. So if possible, you have to really show them, I mean, what your package is all about. Meaning, so I would recommend to include in your package for one-on-one and corporate a minimum of 6 sessions. Because, as coaches, we know that everybody is different, right? And just by one session, it's a transformation is not really possible. They might make some progress, but they really want to start seeing results. Usually, at least 6 sessions is a must, minimum. Yeah. So, what you want to speak to the corporate is that you explain to them, first of all, understand what is the result they want from the engagement, right? They might have some expectations. They might say, I want this person to improve their communication, speak up more in board meetings, whatever that might be. So help them help understand that. And then you have to really do an assessment depending on the conversation you have with the client. How many sessions do you think it'll need? In my opinion, go with at least 6. And you tell them that we need about this space because when we're working with human beings, it's not like you're fixing a motor or a machine, right? It needs some time. So to see progress and to see this person, becoming a better leader, communicating better, repeat the same thing they told you in the first meeting. You will need about 6 sessions as a minimum. We can start with that, and then we can revisit the progress after the 6 sessions. And usually they will ask for a report or something like that, or an update. Yeah. And then you can revisit it. And if they are okay to extend the engagement further, you'll make a different offer. So the details and the logical reasoning is usually higher when it comes to corporate because obviously they make logical decisions, right? The individuals, many times it's an emotional decision.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and basically the feedback from because the one who is the client is not the one who is paying,
Yeah.
and those who are paying would take feedback from the client, in fact, who is being coached, and somehow sometimes the client also has to be in a mood that you have actually transformed their whatever career or their whatever
Yeah.
they have, and help them give a good feedback about you also. So that also creeps in, right?
I'll share one more thing. Um, I don't do corporate stuff, right? But I have because I used to work with the company, I've seen a lot of things like this because I was part of this entire ecosystem. So if possible, don't take on the client if they don't want the coaching.
Mm,
Sometimes the company sends them, but they don't really want it.
mm,
They're not interested in growth or whatever. So when you obviously talk to the person before you take them as a client, right? And if they are not really aligned with it, it's better to not go forward because what will happen is, you will end up wasting your time and energy. And then,
important, yeah.
like, as a coach, right, what the clients say about us is our value and our perception in the market.
Mm,
So it's very important to take on clients who are actually committed to the process.
exactly. Yeah, Faiza, you have any question?
Yes, Faiza.
Yeah. So my question is that for the corporate clients, as Umar was asking, the 6 session is the minimum package. And then what about the rest of the steps? Like it's 8 or 10 or 12, and how far can we go?
Yeah, great question. So, like I said, as far as I know, there is no minimum or maximum.
Hmm.
This has completely, it's down to what you think the client needs, at least to begin with. So, in my experience, what I've seen is you have to start somewhere, right? So, what you do is in the initial proposal that you give, you start with six. Yeah.
Hmm.
If the company doesn't want to go ahead, as a backup, you say that would you like to begin with 3 sessions and then we can revisit. So you have a backup. Yeah. Obviously, the 3 sessions will be less in terms of investment. So the same thing applies to 8 session or 10 sessions. So it's completely up to you. But after your discovery call or chemistry call, whatever you call it, if you think that the client needs 8 sessions or 10 sessions, you propose that. I'm just saying six as a minimum because most coaches I know they don't create a package.
Mm,
Hmm.
Yeah.
yeah,
So if you think 8 sessions necessary, go with that. Explain to them the entire thing. Highlight the benefits that they can expect when they follow through the process, etc. And tell them that we will revisit. And it's important to make sure that the expectations are aligned. They shouldn't expect that by like a miracle, the person is going to change after 8 sessions. That doesn't always happen. Yeah. So you can say that we will revisit the progress and we can have an extended engagement after this if necessary. So keep an open loop there,
yeah.
so to speak.
I think it is also important to understand that the sessions are outcome based. So if we, if each session is getting an outcome, and an outcome is delivered in about in 2 sessions, in 3 sessions, it depends basically on how extensive is the need of that client, be it a
Correct.
corporate one or an individual client. The extent of that need and the issue might determine the number of the sessions, perhaps.
Yeah, yeah, this is a good point, Umar. Faiza, I'll add one more point. Yeah. So let's say you make an offer for 8 sessions, right?
Hmm.
And sometimes it's possible that the client only needs four. So when you make your presentation to the corporate, you can say that in case the client is able to achieve the results in 4 or 5 sessions, you can send another one of your team members for the remaining ones.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's absolutely okay.
Hmm.
Great. So, any other questions? Anyone else? Gee, thank you very much, everyone. If there isn't any further questions, and Nayasab is saying for him, powerful learning was the package, the coaching with benefits
Yeah.
clearly benefits client really and really well, really and really values.
Great. I'm glad to know that. Shabin says, thank you so much, Aki. Looking forward to more sessions. Thank you, Shabin. It was really nice to see you again.
No, thank you very
Okay,
much.
anyone else? We have like 4 more minutes. No questions?
Thank you very much, Aki. It is a real pleasure having you with us. And Aisha,
There's a question, Aisha. Yeah.
Aisha, just on the
Yes,
last.
Aisha?
आयशा आपका हाथ गलती से उठ गया है या आप हैं यहाँ पे? नैयर साहब जी, नैयर.
Just a small point that I would like to share. You remember when people say that we will go back to our spouses and then come back with a response and all, and you said that by when do you think you can come back? I would like to ask one question which we have found very powerful, which we were taught to ask this question. And that question was, all right, fine, that's fine that you go to your spouse and ask and carry a discussion. Tell me, what you would like to, how you will make it more powerful, means what are the important points that you will consider during the discussion so that when you go back to your spouse, it makes a very winning case for you.
Yeah.
So that point itself is a very powerful coaching question. And most of the time, this question itself, it takes 5 to 10 minutes of coaching session in the session.
Yeah.
During the session.
Very true.
Thank you.
Very true. Great. So basically, it's about helping them come to, have clarity on what they need to do, right? And how they can execute it. So thank you, Nair, for adding that. So thanks, everybody. I hope to meet you all in another session very soon.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Aki. Thank you very much for your time and for everyone else who joined in and for wonderful questions. And Aki, thank you very much again for a wonderful session.
Welcome.
And I hope after this we would be utilizing these strategies. And next time when we'll meet, we'll be charging you a fee also.
All
Thank you very
right.
much.
Thank you,
Thank you
everybody.
very much,
Bye-bye.
Akilesh, and thank you very much, everyone. Bye-bye. Take good care of yourself. And Khuda Hafiz.
Thank you so much.